NBC4 New York presents Sports Final. Here's your host, Bruce Beck.
Are you ready for the first live major sporting event in the world since COVID-19 forced the shutdown of almost everything? Well, here it comes. The Belmont Stakes are here now this Saturday, and oh, will it be different. It's the first leg of the Triple Crown, not the last. The race is 1 1/8 miles, not the 1.5 miles test of the champion. And there will be no fans in attendance. Earlier tonight, I caught up with horse racing guru Randy Moss of NBC Sports, who will be part of the network's broadcast team this coming weekend. Randy, how are you making out during these challenging times?
I'm doing okay, Bruce, and congratulations on the relaunch tonight. It's about time, huh?
Yes, we're excited about the opportunity to talk sports again. And this is going to be the first live sporting event, the first major live sporting event in New York since March. Will that play into your storyline?
Oh, absolutely, Bruce. It's going to be the first major sporting event pretty much anywhere since March. I mean, no football, no baseball, no basketball. Golf is back, but we haven't had a major. Auto racing is back, but we haven't had a, quote, major auto race yet. This is the first major sporting event since this whole COVID-19 pandemic kicked in back in March.
We have a superstar, Tiz the Law. How good is this colt?
He's really good, Bruce. He won the Florida Derby very impressively. That's his last start. Before that, he won the Holy Bull. He won the Champagne over that track at Belmont last fall.
When you look at Tiz the Law and that performance in the Florida Derby, a Grade 1 victory, I watched it back, Randy. This horse is impressive and has another gear.
He does. And one of the things that makes him so impressive, Bruce, is that he's versatile. If you go back to his race before the Florida Derby, he ran in the Holy Bull at Gulfstream Park, and he actually broke on the lead. And he had a lot of early speed in that race. And going into the first turn, they decided they didn't want him on the lead. So they tried to grab a hold of him and take him back. He didn't like it. He fought it a little bit, and then he settled down. They steered him to the outside. Whoosh. He just went on and won very impressively. Other than the one race he lost, which was on a sloppy racetrack last November at Churchill Downs, his other 4 races have all been decisive wins by margins of anywhere from 3 to 4 1/4 lengths. So he's a very good horse, and he's a very deserving favorite in the Belmont.
What kind of atmosphere do you expect on Saturday, Randy?
It's going to be weird. You know, it really is. It's going to be not only because the Belmont is now the first leg of the Triple Crown this year, and not only because it's 1.5 miles. It's no longer the test of the champion for at least 1 year. It's 1.8 miles around one turn. So that makes it weird. But then the whole no fan vibe at Belmont Park, and it's different, but it's a good thing for sports. It's a good thing for horse racing that we are having the Belmont Stakes, and we're going to have the Triple Crown, even if it's a jumbled up order.
The Triple Crown is usually 3 racetracks, 3 different distances over a 5-week period. Now we've got 4 months to decide a possible Triple Crown winner. How unique is that?
It's very unique. It's bizarre on all sorts of levels. I think the most weird part about this Triple Crown is, well, it's 2 things. First of all, it's the obvious. It's the change in race order. For the very first time in the history of the 3 races, the Belmont Stakes goes first. But then it's the gap between the Belmont Stakes on June the 20th and then the Kentucky Derby on September the 5th. So you're going to have horses competing in the Triple Crown, but they're going to run once in between the first leg and the second leg. Almost all of them are going to try to get a race in between the Belmont and the Kentucky Derby, whether it's the Haskell at Monmouth, whether it's the Travers, assuming they move it to early August or late July at Saratoga. So this is kind of a bizarre year all the way around.
Max Player, the winner of the Grade 3 Withers, trained by Linda Rice. What kind of chance does this horse have?
Well, he hasn't run since February the 1st because of the pandemic. I mean, Linda Rice keeps her horses in New York. She was at Aqueduct, and she chose to just sort of sit on Max Player instead of shipping him off to another track and wait for Belmont to get up and running again. But she's an outstanding trainer. She's been a leading trainer at Saratoga, at Aqueduct, at Belmont. She's bidding to become the first female trainer ever to win a Triple Crown race. Max Player hasn't raced against the kind of competition, certainly, that he's going to see Saturday in Tiz the Law. but he's definitely a player. And another horse to watch for, I think the horse that's going to be the second favorite, Bruce, is kind of an odd horse, is a horse named Tap It to Win, who ran 16 days before the Belmont. Around one turn in a one-turn race at 1 1/16, he ran a hole in the wind. It was his first start of the year. He went straight to the early lead, which is undoubtedly the strategy that they're going to use in the Belmont. And if he can run that race back again, he could give Tiz the Law a battle.
Dr. Post, trained by one of our good friends here, Todd Pletcher, won the Unbridled. Does this colt have a chance?
Well, when you look at his race in the Unbridled, it was a very unusual trip that Dr. Post had. He was always sort of in a claustrophobic kind of spot. He was bumped around between horses going into the second turn. A lot of horses, given that trip, would have just checked out. But when he finally got clear in the upper part of the stretch, he zoomed to the front, was very visually impressive.
How about Sol Volante, the winner of the Sam Davis?
He just ran last Wednesday at Gulfstream Park. He is another horse coming back on a very short rest. He is a stretch runner. He had a pretty easy spot in an allowance race at Gulfstream at 1 mile around one turn. He came from off the pace as he always does and got up without the need of a whip. He was under a hand ride, so they kind of took it easy on him. And his trainer, Patrick Biancone, knew going into that race, even with a short gap between races, that was going to be sort of like his workout, hopefully, for the Belmont Stakes. It turned out okay. He's a nice horse, but he's going to have to step up his game.
Does Tiz the Law have the look of a Triple Crown winner?
Well, Bruce, he's got the adaptability and running style that it takes. He's run fast enough. I would say the only possible Achilles heel when you look at him and you look at his races, Bruce, is that when he lost the race at Churchill Downs, it was not only a sloppy racetrack, but he got pinned down on the inside. And he didn't seem to like it. So with that in mind about Tiz the Law, if he can avoid the bad luck and if he can avoid a trip like that in the 3 races, he's definitely in there with a good shot.
So finally, Randy, what's your message to racing fans this weekend?
Tune in to NBC Sports for the first major sporting event since March. We're going to have a good time. We're really looking forward to it. NBC's pumped about this. We're expecting a lot of people to tune in. We're going to give it the major race treatment, which is what the Belmont Stakes deserves. And hopefully people will have as good a time watching it as we're going to have putting it on for you.
Randy, thanks for joining us. Have a great show this coming Saturday, and we appreciate it.
You too, Bruce. Take care.
That's Randy Moss, horse racing analyst for NBC Sports, where he also works as a broadcaster for the Olympics. And what a day we have for you this Saturday with over 6 hours of live horse racing on our network. It starts at 9 a.m. with the prestigious Royal Ascot live from England. And then at 2:45 p.m., NBC4 New York is your home for the 152nd running of the Belmont Stakes. Mike Tirico and Randy anchor all of the coverage. It's the first leg of horse racing's Triple Crown from beautiful Belmont Park. Big Sandy, exclusively right here on NBC.